We are back. It is Monday. The race was Saturday. I thought about doing the recap yesterday, but I ended up sleeping in and I was just really tired. So I used yesterday to kind of collect some data and collect my thoughts and wrote down some notes. So we're at my desk and I have my notes in front of me. That way I can read my notes and not try to remember things and then forget them halfway through and can tell you accurately what was going on. So we're going to start with that. But the race went really well, honestly. I had so much fun. It was a great time. And I remember why I enjoy fixed time races so much. The community is such a good time. The event itself is such a good time. It's just so much fun. It's a giant party the whole way through. It wasn't a big field. There were a good amount of people there. I don't know how many runners competed. I should have looked that up. I'll try to remember to look that up. I might film a little bit more tomorrow. I am filming this a little late in the day. It's like 12:30 right now. I'm trying to use this week as recovery, so I went on a walk a little earlier this morning and got a little bit of a late start, so I might film some more stuff tomorrow. But the field wasn't huge, but it was a pretty decent size. There were, I think, 2 or 3 relay teams, and I think they had about probably 4 people each on them. So that also added to it and probably made it seem a little bit bigger. But most of the field was just individuals like myself who were just doing as many laps as they could. I think what we'll start with was the weather. We're just going to kind of jump into it. The weather for the day, it was an 11-hour event, so the race started at 7:17 a.m. And at race start time, it was about 37 degrees Fahrenheit. And then at mid-morning, around 10 a.m., it did warm up during the day, so it was pretty cold at the start. I did start with gloves and my toes were really freaking cold. That was a note I did make, but I did end up taking the gloves off. But mid-morning, it warmed up a little bit to around 50 Fahrenheit. Afternoon, around 3 p.m., it felt hot at that point compared to early in the morning at 64 degrees. That felt really warm. And then when the race ended at 6:29 p.m. and it was about 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is still pretty warm, but we were right on the riverfront. The water being that close, it was still pretty chilly. And you've been running all day, you've been moving for 11 hours, you're on the waterfront, it is nighttime, so your body is going to still feel pretty cold. But overall, it was a nice day. It was a clear day. It was pretty windy. I did get sunburned on my face. I think I got windburn on my face and on my lips because when on the way home, I was like, my face hurts really bad. Then the next morning I woke up and I was like, pretty sure I got windburn. I did put on sunscreen, but I probably didn't put on enough. That's probably something I should have done better, is like reapplying. And I just didn't think about it because it's October, and while the sun was out, when I was resting, we were kind of sitting in the shade. Like, we were under this really pretty willow tree, and then on the race course, most of it was under the trees. And in my brain, I was like, well, I'm in the shade, so I'm fine. The sun was still coming through, so just something to think about for next year. It's something I know. At the time, my brain just did not register it at all. Moving on to the course itself. Each loop was 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers, and it was at this really nice campground. I thought it was going to be a bit more of an out-of-the-way campground, but it was a pretty established campground. Really nice. We're probably going to try to go camp there maybe in the upcoming year or so. To get there, like, most of it was like in the trees, like on the trails. There was a small section on the asphalt. That's just kind of how they had to loop it to get it to like that last little bit. The start line, you had to go up and over the road to get onto the trail. So there was a small hill to get up, a small little incline. It wasn't too bad, but as you know, if you've done a fixed time race or if you've done a backyard, that adds up after a while. So you go up the incline to go over the road, and then down a very manageable decline to get into the trail. Coming out of the trail to go back over the road, there was a nasty hill. I don't know who put that hill there, but it was nasty. and I didn't appreciate it and I didn't like it. But I saw plenty of people just bombing up that hill, and more power to them because I had so much trouble just walking up the hill. So you had to go up this nasty hill to go over the road and then, down the other side to go start the asphalt loop. So overall, really well marked trail too. This was an excellently marked trail because there was a lot of two-way traffic in a lot of spots, but the trail was always going to be marked with flags on your left side. It was marked consistently throughout. You couldn't really get lost. There were some parts where if it was going to cut into a different way, they would have a sign that said wrong way. You really were going to have a hard time getting lost on these trails. So that was another A+ for this company. Very well marked trail, very well marked course. And most of the time there was always somebody around you, either on a two-way stretch, either coming or going. So you're like, okay, I'm near someone, so I'm on a right path. And if I'm going the wrong way, they can turn me around. Or you can spot someone in the distance, or maybe someone's coming up behind you to pass you, so you know you're going in the right direction. Really pretty course too. The trail was just really pretty. I love being in all the trees. Excellent course. It was just so nice to be on an actual trail. The last fixed time event I did, it was out in Riverside, California, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And it was on a working farm, but it was out in the sun and there were no trees. It was so much fun, but the terrain was so different. The two races could not have been more different. And I love this one so much. This one was really flat too. I think this company puts on 4 different events, like 4 events of this similar type throughout the year. And this one was the flattest of its kind. So that was another bonus for me because I was like, cool, I don't have to manage any really gnarly hills. That's good. Because I don't think I could manage that right now. I know I originally had my A goal was for 10 laps. And when I started, I was like, I don't think I'm going to hit 10 laps, which is fine. And as I moved through the day, I was like, I don't think I'm going to hit my B goal either, which was 8 laps. I probably could have hit my C goal. If I'm being honest, I could have gotten 7 loops. I really could have if I had pushed myself. I need to work on my mental toughness. That's something that I really want to work towards in this, like, not just the upcoming year, but the upcoming years, multiple, plural, because that's something that I've always stopped short on. I don't know what it is, but every time I get close to that edge of like, I could push myself, I just pull back. I don't know what it is. Every single time though, I could push myself forward, but it's like I get scared or I second guess myself, I get nervous, or I go, something's gonna go wrong, you're gonna mess up, I don't know. And I just pull back and decide not to do it. So working on my mental toughness was something I wrote down in my personal notes, and I absolutely could have gotten 7 loops because I only ended up with 6. Which is still a win. I'm still proud of that. I ended up with a total of 16 miles. I'm trying to put the conversions in the video so you don't have to like try to do mental math or stop the video and go Google it. It's just already there for you. I'm still proud of what I did. I'm still proud of my 6 loops. I'm still proud of my 16 miles, but I could have done 1 more loop. Even if I had walked it and like ran just a tiny little bit and just walked most of it, I still could have. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but considering I'm coming from absolutely zero fitness, it's not bad. I did write some notes down for each loop. So I have my notes in front of me and I'm just going to go through each one. There's only 6, so there's not that many. It won't take that long. For loop 1, because it was pretty damn cold at the start, I did walk the entire first loop. I used a podcast to wake up both my brain and my body because I was just a frozen popsicle at the beginning. And I was absolutely not awake because at one point I definitely woke up at 1 a.m. I went to bed at a decent hour. At either like 9:30 or 10, I went to sleep. But then my brain woke me up at 1 a.m. I laid back down. I got up to used the bathroom, laid back down, and I closed my eyes, but my brain wouldn't shut up. And the next thing I know, I look at the clock, because every time I wake up in the middle of the night, I try to avoid looking at the clock, because when you look at the clock, it's always way too close to the time that you're supposed to wake up. So I look at the clock and it says 2:15, and I said, but why? So then I closed my eyes again. I said, fine, we're gonna go to sleep. And my brain still won't shut up. And the next thing I know, the clock said 3:15, and then it said 4:15. And I guess at one point after that, I fell asleep because I woke up to the alarm that I had set at 5:10 and then at 5:15. I must have dozed at least a little bit in between, like maybe like 3 to 4 and between 4 and 5. But I was definitely awake for a little bit between like 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. I don't know why, but my brain would not turn off, and that was really annoying. So I was really tired, not fully awake. Plus, it was really early and it's really cold. It was really dark outside. Beautiful sunrise, though. I got great pictures. I'll put one here. I needed to wake my body up slowly. So I used that first lap to just walk the course, learn the course, used a podcast to just kind of wake up. Loop number 2, I used intervals. And I used these, it was technically the second episode of Kelly Roberts. She has like an 8-week 5K like run plan. And so that plan uses a 1 minute on, 1 minute off interval. But I actually used a 1 minute on and then 3 minutes off and just ran that for the duration of the loop because I hadn't actually run for quite a while. So I was like, well, I'll run for a minute, take 3 minutes off. And I just kind of did that for the entirety of the loop. If I was feeling good, I ran for an extra minute here and there, but that helped me go a little bit faster and I was feeling pretty good. And then loop 3, this is where things kind of went sideways. So for loop 3, I was feeling good after loop 2. I was like, well, let me kind of ease back a little bit. I'll do fartleks on loop 3, just kind of change it up a little bit. So I started a new podcast and I started doing fartleks. So I would just pick a point, run to it, and then stop, catch my breath, pick a new point, run to it, repeat. So towards the end of this loop, my left knee started feeling a little bit weird. I started getting some not good pain in my left knee when I would run. And I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but that's not great. It was towards the end of the trail section and I decided, okay, well, I'll walk it in. So I stopped the fartleks and I was just gonna walk the rest of the loop. It wasn't that long. It was probably like maybe 3/4 of a mile of the loop left. So that's not too bad. And then I could also feel an exertion migraine starting in the right side of my head and then in my neck, like the tension. I always get exertion migraines. I've gotten them ever since I really started consistently working out, like in high school and throughout university. So that it's nothing new, but I wasn't expecting it to hit so early on. So that was kind of a problem as well. So I did take my rescue meds after I finished the loop and I did take a very long break. That was my first really long break of the day. I got back, took a rescue med. That's when I grabbed a Coke. I ate a little bit more food. So I had made some potatoes and had some salt sprinkled over them. It's such an excellent food. I love it so much. And I had brought those with me. I had some of those and was trying to eat some more substantial food at that point. And I was icing my knee and I took a little bit of a longer break. I don't know how long of a break it was, but it was a pretty long break because I was like, I don't want to risk doing too much and then getting out there and my knee's worse because this is the most my body has done in a very long time. And I know myself, I am a person who I could take this and be like, oh, well, my knee's hurting, so I should probably just sit out. Like I could very much use this as an excuse of like, oh, well, I guess I should sit out the rest of the day, but I don't want to do that. In the past, I very well might have done that, and I don't want to do that anymore. I also don't want to push it because I know like it could very easily tip over to where I could mess up my knee pretty bad because this is a lot of stress on your body. 11 hours of work is a lot of stress on your body, even if you've been working towards it. And I haven't been. So it's a lot of stress on your body. So I was like, let me take a break, let me ice my knee, let me elevate it, and just stop for a little bit because this is a big shock. And when I go back out there, I'll walk a loop and see how it goes. And that's exactly what I did. So loop 4, I ended up walking it. I just started a podcast, took it easy, took a walk, had no knee pain, was feeling good. And loop 5, same thing. I was just really tired at that point. I was still walking and I still had no pain, which was really good. I was just really tired, kind of out of it a little bit and really getting a little sleepy. You could see in that update, I was just really tired at that point. Not a whole lot going on up here. And then we get to the final loop. I was like, I'm just going to do one more loop. I knew I could have done 7. At that point, I was like, I really could like do this final loop and then like maybe take a short break and then go out for one more. And I was like, I don't think I have it in me today. I think I'm just going to do one final full loop and that'll be it for now. So my final loop was loop number 6, and I ended up using the Kelly Roberts podcast again, that same episode that I mentioned before. But this time I did run 1 minute on and 1 minute off, and so I got through it pretty quick, faster than I was expecting. I don't have any splits because I had a Garmin, but I ran it until its death. And then because I wasn't running a lot, I ended up getting a Fitbit a while back. I didn't love it for running. If it's just Fitbits and running for me are not a good match, but also that ended up dying as well. So I haven't gotten a new watch yet. I am in the market for a Garmin. I'm going to be getting a new one soon. It was also kind of nice not tracking it. It was just kind of tracking the mileage this time around. It was fine. It was kind of nice just tracking mileage and not worrying about like how fast was that lap, that kind of thing. I had my phone on me the entire time and Google Fit was telling me like, here's how many steps you've taken a day, and that was a wild number. I don't remember how much it was, but it was a big number. So loop 6, got that done, took another break, and I think I had about an hour break before they started the quarter mile loops. So what they were going to do was for the last half hour of the day, they had a section of the asphalt part of the course marked off where it was a quarter mile out, quarter mile back, totaling 1/2 mile. And for that half hour, you just ran as many of those as you could. And they had a little countdown. You had to go sign up just so they knew like how many people wanted to do it, because some people ran laps and then they left early. They completed the big loops and they were like, I don't want to do those. You know, I might stay and watch, but they didn't want to complete them. So they didn't sign up. And there was a smaller field of us that did complete it. And I think 2 of the relay groups did compete in it, and they were fun to watch because I did 2 of the quarter mile laps, so I got a full mile out of it. And when I got back, I still had, I think there was like 10 minutes to spare on the clock, so I stood and watched with Tien, and we watched the other people just like back and forth. And the relay teams were really fun to watch because they would come barreling in. They would throw their bib at their teammate who would take off. And I am not a fast person, and I've seen fast people. Like, I've seen elites at road marathons, but damn, seeing fast people up close again and again, it's still fascinating to me as a non-fast person. It was so fun to watch, and it was so fun to like cheer in the people as it got closer and closer, especially like the ones when it got to like 4 minutes and under. Like, we still had a couple people who would go out for like one more round. It was really fun to watch, and it was fun to cheer them in. It would get to under 3 minutes and then under 2 minutes to get that last person across the line. It was such a good time. I had a great time. We all got these really cool coasters. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see like the design on it. And it's a bottle opener, and it's leather. It's really nice. I think it's magnetic too, because it stuck to my phone a little bit. But I had an excellent time. These events are so fun. Like, it was such a great time to see all the friends and families set up, waiting for their runners to come in and just hanging out and talking with each other and like with their neighbors. And out on the trails, it was nothing but high fives, fist bumps, cheering, hyping each other up, chatting to each other, just hanging out and throwing someone a smile or a high five, because you're gonna see the same people a million times on these laps. You're gonna become pretty friendly with everybody pretty damn quick because you're all gonna be out there for 11 hours. You're gonna see each other either out on the trail or at the aid station. And everybody was in such a great mood. Everyone was having such a good time. Everyone was so nice to each other. Like, you're obviously gonna have folks, because there were two guys who actually tied for mileage for the top men, but one finished 1 minute or 2 minutes before the other guy, so technically he was the top male. So you're gonna have folks who, they're gonna compete for the podium or top 10 or whatever the top spots are. But even with that, they want that competition. They still want their competitors to do well. They're not going to be out there, like if their competitor falls or if something happens to another runner, they're not going to be like, oh, good, I'm glad that guy fell down, or good, I'm glad she got hurt. They're never going to think that. They want a competition, and they want their other runners to have a great time. They want their other runners to be out there with them. They want to run with you. It's just a whole other kind of atmosphere out there, and you can just, it's so much fun. It's just a completely different kind of atmosphere, and it was really fun watching the folks who were kind of aiming and targeting those like top mileage spots to like just hit those loops over and over and really go for it as fast as they could. Everybody was such a beast out there. They really were. It was so cool to watch everybody get out there and hit the trails, because everybody did so well. These are why I love these types of events. I love fixed time events. I know it's only my second one, but I remember why I love it so much. I think a backyard would be really fun to do too. I would have to get my mileage time down though. That's the only thing. And here's my poster. Can you see it? Tien marked all of my loops for me. I did obviously a great job decorating it with my dino stickers. I'd like to do this event again and then obviously get more tick marks on it. I think maybe 10 loops was maybe a little too ambitious of a goal, considering I really haven't done any running this year. So maybe my goals should have been adjusted. I like to aim high. So there's that. But I'm still proud of what I've done. I will say that, like, I am a slower runner. I've always been a slower runner. Never been upset with that. I would like to get faster. I think I said that I don't know, did I say that in my other video? I have thoughts that I will say in other videos, but I would like to get faster just simply because I want to not be sleeping the rest of the day when I finish an event or when I finish a long run. After this, and especially after like watching Courtney Dauwalter absolutely crush it at the TC Marathon the couple weekends ago, I want to get stronger, especially if I'm going to be on trails. Like, going up that damn hill, I need to get stronger, okay? Because let me tell you, my quads and my hamstrings put in the work, okay? My feet really hurt. I'm really flat-footed. I think I might have had plantar fasciitis like for quite a while, but because the pain in my heel and on the bottom of my foot, it sounds like that's what it is. But my quads and my hamstrings really put in the work, especially on that hill on Saturday, okay? We really just need to get stronger. That's what I think I'm gonna focus on first. I really enjoyed sitting down. Like, I do still want to sit down and kind of journal some thoughts that I have, just not only like stats, like what I've done with my recap, like what was the weather like, what was the terrain like, what did each loop, what did I do on that, like did I run it, did I walk it? But, thoughts like at the beginning, I wrote, even this morning, I was like, my toes were frozen at the beginning. So maybe next year, have thicker socks on at the beginning, and some just things like that. But, work on strength training more. But mental toughness, that's something I really need to work on, and I want to work on. Strength training is something I really want to work on. Just, these are things I want to write down in my notes, in my journal. And I'm trying to think of ways for my journal, like what notes I want to take for each type of, like, not just each run, but for each workout, especially for each week. That's something else I'm trying to work on, is laying out my week in a journal. And, that way I can look at it, kind of at an overview, and then be able to take notes on it, journal maybe a little bit every day. Some days I may not want to, but other days I may want to write a lot. Some days I've got a lot of words to say. I do want to figure out what kind of method and what format I want to take my notes in, not just stats for my runs, but what way I want to journal my notes and my stats and my thoughts for my workouts and just my overall health, workout routine, all of it moving forward. My races are done for the year. From here on out, we are moving forward and we're doing a reset of everything. Reset of workouts, nutrition, health, all of it, which will be a different video. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed my little race recap. If you've never done a fixed time event, I cannot recommend it enough. It is so much fun. If you've ever done one before, let me know down below. If you've ever done a backyard before, also let me know, because I really want to do a backyard, but I know typically they're like 4 miles and some change in an hour, and I'm not that fast yet. I really want to do one though, so maybe that can be in my future. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great run, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.